Good morning, Becky.
Good morning, Bonnie.
How are you today? That looks like such a little lovely tea party.
I've been drinking tea all morning, so I'm really happy.
You have a little caffeine, huh?
I have.
I'm excited for a tea party. That looks so fun. Tell me what we're going to do.
Okay, well, first of all, yesterday was Groundhog's Day. And supposedly, what's the groundhog in Pennsylvania?
Punxsutawney Phil.
Yes, he's seen his shadow. So he says there's 6 more weeks of winter. But I heard, and if you didn't hear this, French Creek Freddy from West Virginia did not see his shadow, and he said it's going to be in early spring. So I believe him.
We're going with Freddy then? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
I think that's a good plan. Let's hope for spring soon.
So today we're going to do a spring tea party.
Because right now there's still snow outside.
There is snow outside. I did get my 5th snowman though made, Bonnie. 5 snowmen.
You told me there were going to be at least 5 more chances for snowmen this year, so I believe you now.
I think there's going to be more than that, but 5 is what we got.
Yeah, 5 are limit, actually. Okay, so let's pretend it's spring already, and let's have a spring tea party.
Okay.
Is this low carb again this week?
It is low carb. I did all of our snacks low carb, and I'll talk about that, but let me get my tea to steeping. Tea, you want it to steep, and that means it's sort of set in the tea bags for a little while. Loose leaf. I have 1 tea bag, and this is a green tea, and it doesn't set very long. It only sets for about 2 minutes. So you want to watch that one because otherwise it gets a little bitter. In my sunflower teapot, I have Earl Grey tea, which we're going to make a London fog, and I'll show you how to do that.
It's
delicious.
And I never knew that about the steeping of the tea bags either. I did not know that there was a time that's the best amount of time. I just threw it in there.
If you turn around your box or your bag or whatever you've got of tea, it'll tell you how long to steep it for.
Okay. I did not know that. No.
I don't know if any of you have one of these, and I don't know if you can see it back here. This is an electric teapot, and it sets on a little base, and you put water, and when you turn that baby on, it's hot within minutes.
Wow.
And so I like my teapot. So that's what we're using today to boil our water. I have the Earl Grey tea in my sunflower one. Now, the London fog has lavender, dried lavender. So I actually went and bought some dry lavender. I found it at Mother Earth, and I'm going to put 1/4 teaspoon in with my tea leaves. So it just adds a little flavor that's really fun.
Wow, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah. So we're going to put hot water in this one. We'll put hot water in our green tea. Now the Earl Grey, what makes it Earl Grey, it has a bergamot flavoring to it.
Okay.
It's just delicious. If you've never had Earl Grey, you have to try Earl Grey. It's delicious tea.
Okay.
And I think once you have this London fog, it's all over because it's delicious.
It's all over.
In the last little tea pot, this actually has a little basket, wire basket in it. And what's in this one, it is a decaf tea, but it is a blood orange tea. It has tea leaves, black tea leaves, and it also has some dried blood orange. I don't know if you've ever had a blood orange. It's sort of a dark orange in it. So this ought to be really good too. That'll be good for this evening.
So you've got 3 different kinds of interesting, not just plain old teas.
Yeah. And if you go to your grocery store, I have several boxes. I have a black chai tea, which is wonderful. It's sort of spicy. I have an orange spice black tea, which again is very good. I actually even have a decaf Earl Grey because sometimes at night I'd like to have a cup of tea, but I don't want the caffeine.
Right, gotcha.
So if you can see my water boiling, look at that.
Totally.
So I'm going to go and put, I'm going to put about 3/4 3/4 cup of water in my other two, not quite a cup. That's what the recipe calls for. So I put 1 teaspoon of tea leaves in my pots. If you're going to use a pot, about 1 teaspoon, and that's all it takes. And these you can leave steep a little longer. Okay, let me pour some in here. Okay. So we're going to let our tea steep. Let me put the lids on, because that's the steeping part. So when you cover it over and put the lids on,
okay,
that steeps your. So let's set these back and let them steep. And then I'm going to show you, I made a banana bread. Well, I don't know if you can see it there, but you can see it here all right. I made a banana bread that is actually a low carb.
A low carb banana bread?
Yep. Let me tell you how I did that. Let me put these back. Put those out of the way so I don't spill them and my tea thing. And this one we don't want to leave in here very long. So I'm going to pull that out here in just a little bit. So I'll leave that set there. Let me get my little snack tray off.
I love the snack tray. Don't take it away.
It'll come back, believe me. Okay, this is a banana bread. And in this banana bread, I've got 3 eggs. So let me get my eggs in my bowl. I tried this one earlier, and this is delicious, just delicious. So it's not a problem. I need to find something to put my eggshells in. Okay. So to that, I'm going to whip those eggs up. And then I'm going to put all my liquids in here. So I'm going to add my eggs. I've got 2 bananas. So the bananas, I'm going to just sort of mush up in my eggs. It's a good use of old bananas. They got new life.
They don't even look too bad.
They don't look too bad, but they're perfect banana bread because they're sort of soft. They're perfect for banana bread. Just perfect. Yum.
I can smell bananas from here.
You can. Okay, what I'm going to do to this, I have a little tool. You know me and my tools. This one here, if you can see it, it's got little twirly things. It's actually to break up meat when you're frying it like hamburger, but I use it for my bananas. So I just mush up my bananas.
That's Pampered Chef.
Yes.
Pampered Chef.
You can probably get other places, I would figure. But I just mush up my bananas and it's perfect, especially when your bananas are a little hard. This one really mushes them up well. Okay. I've got that all done. And to this, I'm going to add, the recipe for the low carb calls for either olive oil or coconut oil. I opted to put coconut oil in. Now my coconut oil is a solid. If you look in the store, that's how you're going to find coconut oil. It's a solid, and it's just the fat that you put in there. But coconut oil is very healthy, low carb. So I got my coconut oil.
Now, does that make a difference in how the recipe turns out if you use coconut oil or olive oil?
I don't think so. I think you're going to get the
olive
same
oil. Olive oil is not solid.
No, it's not. And this, when you bake, won't be solid either. And I sort of mush it up enough that you really can't tell that it's a solid. It's in there with my bananas. But I think the flavor would change a little if you put olive oil versus coconut oil.
Okay.
I think it would just change it a little, and I didn't want to change it. I like my banana bread. Yummy.
Coconut.
Yep, with coconut. Okay, I've got my bananas, my eggs, and my coconut oil. So that's really my wet. Now I'm going to add my dry to it. In my dry, the flour I'm going to use today is almond flour because there's not as much carbohydrate in almond flour than there is regular flour. So I'm going to add 2 cups of almond flour. And I'm going to add very little sugar. This is called Swerve, the sweetener. Now you could add honey, you could add regular sugar. It only calls for a teaspoon of sweetener. So that's not much sweetener, but I'm going to add Swerve, which is made from vegetables and fruit. So again, very good for you.
So Swerve is a sweetener?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep, you can find it. I'm add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, so let me add that in. Okay, and I think that's everything that I have to put in here. And I'm just going to mix that all up and let it become a batter. Now, I did add some walnuts in my last one, and I think I'll go ahead and dump the walnuts. I think I'll put them on top instead of in it. Some people don't like nuts, so if they're on top, they can just pick them off.
I always want nuts on there, so that wouldn't be picking them off.
So this is our batter.
Wow, yep. That's interesting. It doesn't look like batter.
Yep. Well, banana bread batter is a little thick anyway, so it's real close. So I'm going to spray my little baking dish, and I'm just going to dump that in there.
That was a pretty easy way to make banana bread. I did not realize it was that easy.
Yep, it's pretty easy. Even if you're using flour, it's this easy too. Okay. So I'm just going to smooth that out on top. And then I'm going to put my walnuts on top, in case someone wants to take them off. So I've got a 1/2 cup of walnuts, and I'm just going to spread them across the top. And then I'm going to stick this in a 350 oven, and it cooked for about 45-50 minutes. It got really brown, so I covered it up the last few minutes. But there it is, all ready to bake.
Yummy. Oh my God, that looks good.
So we're going to put that in the oven. And of course, when it comes out, that's what it looks like.
Yum.
Isn't that lovely?
Yum. Looks very
nice, thick. Yeah.
Take your tea bag out.
Oh, take my tea bag out. Good call. I'm going to squeeze it out and put it, there we go. Now this is our green tea. I'm going to let that cool off because that's hot. Let me let that cool off. Okay, just to show you what else I did, on my little tray, I also did a macaroon. And a macaroon is basically coconut, egg whites, and some kind of sweetener. And that's all there is to a macaroon.
That's it? Three ingredients.
3 ingredients.
Wow.
So have you ever had a macaroon?
I don't think. I don't remember if I have.
Oh, you have to get one because they are delicious. I'll tell you where the best one I found, not that this one isn't really good, it is. Really good one over at Panera Bread. They have a nice macaroon. They dip it in chocolate, which is yummy.
Oh, well, yeah. That's the difference right there.
Yeah. So let me tell you how I did this macaroon. Now this one is, again, low carb. So I took, gotta find it, 3 egg whites. I separated the yolk and the white. So 3 egg whites at room temperature. And I took that and put it in my stand mixer and I whipped it. Okay. And then let it whip till there's soft peaks. So when you pull your whisk out, it's going to form a peak. It doesn't take very long. It takes
like a meringue kind of thing?
Yeah, 3 to 5 minutes is all it takes.
Okay.
And what you want to do, you want to add unsweetened coconut if you're doing your low carb. You don't want that sweetener in there because that's sugar.
Okay.
So I took 2 cups of shredded coconut, unsweetened, and I folded it in because you don't want your eggs to collapse. And then I added, it calls for 1/3 of a cup of sweetener. And the Swerve, again, is what it called for. I put a little less in there because it seems like these days, since I'm not eating so much sugar, I don't want so much. So I put a little less than 1/3 of a cup. And then you just dip them on your cookie sheet and you bake them at 320 for about 17 minutes. And they come out nice and brown and lovely.
Like poofy, little poofy.
Yeah, a little poofy. And then the next thing I have is a brownie. Who doesn't like a brownie, right? And again, it's very simple. All I did to make the brownie was, let me find it. Brownie. Oh, I took 2 eggs and I beat up the 2 eggs. And to that, I added a 1/2 cup of melted butter. Imagine butter.
Of course.
A teaspoon of vanilla. And then I also used almond flour. So I used a 1/2 cup of almond flour, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. I used 1/3 of a cup of just cocoa powder.
Okay.
And then I used a 1/2 cup of Swerve, but I used a little less. Again, I just was cutting down on the sugar a little. And you just put them in a pan that I sprayed. As a matter of fact, I used the same pan that I used for banana bread. And I baked it in a 350 oven for 25 minutes. And I did put the walnuts on top before I baked it.
Well, those are not brownies, not even a lot of ingredients.
Nope, very, very easy. Very easy. And then the last thing I got on my tray are these wonderful little cucumber sandwiches. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you.
Making those.
Let me tell you what those are all about.
That's a surprise.
The bread in there is called a cloud bread. And again, it's a low carb. You take 3 large eggs and you separate the yellow and the white. You put the white in my stand mixer again, and I beat them for 2 to 3 minutes till it got that soft peak. I add 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar and a pinch of salt. And I let that all beat up until there was nice peaks. And then in a separate bowl, I took the 3 egg yolks and I added 2 ounces of softened cream cheese. And I mixed that with a hand mixer. And then you combine the 2. You want to fold those egg yolks into your egg whites so it's nice and puffy. And you just scoop them out on your cookie sheet. And I did cover my cookie sheet with parchment paper. And you bake them about 25 to 30 minutes. And look what you come out with.
Oh, so it's like little bread.
Little puffy bread. Isn't that cool?
Oh, now I'm intrigued by that because that's something I could definitely substitute.
Yeah. So actually, to make my little sandwiches, all I did is I took cream cheese and softened it. I put a little bit of ranch dressing and I added in there, and I put just a little sour cream to give it a little more taste. And then all I'm going to do is take one of my cloud breads. I'm going to put a slathering of the cream cheese. And then I'm going to put one of my cucumber slices on top. And then on top of that, I'm going to just take a little bit of dried dill and sprinkle it on top. Now, I've done this before with the little party rise, and it's really good. And then I'm going to take a little piece of tomato and put on top for color. And there it is.
How cute are those?
Yeah.
That's adorable to have for a tea party.
I think that just sort of sums up what's on that tray, doesn't it?
Yes, it just does. I want to have a tea party at your house.
That's a party if you ever seen one.
And?
Okay. Let's get down to tea now. Let's set this aside and we're going to get down to be ashamed to drop that. Okay, we have our green tea done. Let's get to the London fog. That's the one that excites me.
I'm glad you're excited for tea.
Let me tell you a little story about tea. Growing up, we didn't have tea. I don't know why. We didn't have tea bags or any of that stuff. If we did tea, it was in a jar and it was called, I think it was Lipton tea, and it was powdered. It was like an instant tea.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah, and that's what we made our iced tea and everything from. I don't know why we didn't have tea, but we didn't.
Oh, no, my mother's from Alabama, so we always had a big pitcher of sweet tea in our fridge. That was our thing. So we did have tea.
Yeah. Let me see where my milk is here. The London Fog, well, let me finish telling you my story. In about 4th or 5th grade, I went to a girlfriend's house, Patty, and her mom gave us tea, and she also gave us cream and sugar for our tea. I was in heaven. I didn't know you could do that to tea. So this London Fog brought back memories. So let's get to it.
The London Fog and your joy of tea with lemon and sugar.
Sweetener and sugar. Or sugar, it was sugar and cream was what it was. Sugar and cream. Now the London Fog actually started out in the Pacific Northwest, and Starbucks made it popular. So you can go to Starbucks and get this London Fog. You can get it a lot of places. But let me tell you what it consists of. It consists of Earl Grey tea, which we get steeping.
Right.
It consists of steam warm milk. Yeah, my milk's. I'm going to whip this up, and we're going to make like a foam in it. So that's top. Now in my milk, I put just a little bit of vanilla. So that's a little flavor in there. And then of course the lavender's in my tea bag, in with my tea. So let me whip this up.
You've got a lot of stuff in that.
Yeah, I actually have a neat little tool. Let's see, it's got a little whip on the end. You can buy a little thing to make your foam, but I had this. This is my immersion blender. So let me whip that up for you. Whoa, I think that ain't gonna work. There it goes.
You have all the fun tools.
I've got milk everywhere, but that's okay.
We did see that.
Whatever. So I've got my milk all whipped up. Let me wipe some of that up. Okay, let me get my teapot and my glass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour out my Earl Grey tea. Now remember, I put a little bit of lavender in this one. So let me pour it out.
There for a few minutes.
Yep. And you should do about half and half. So about half tea. And then I'm going to do, I am going to do my cream or my milk, my warm milk. So let me pour, I'm going to hold back my cream if I just get it all over the place.
Oh,
there's the fog. Now let me add a little bit of that I didn't get all over the table.
Poofy stuff.
The poofy stuff. Oh, except I needed a deeper container to do that. Now, if you don't have something to blend that up into poofy stuff, you don't have to do that. It's just what it calls for. Okay.
It makes it a little fun.
Let me put a little bit of lavender on top too. Oh, Bonnie, if you could smell this.
It looks lovely. It looks professional.
Look at that.
Nice.
Oh, I did forget one thing, but I don't really miss it. I always put a little honey in it. So you can put honey for sweetener. I don't miss the honey, but you can stir that honey in there for the sweetener. I forgot that step.
The honey might be just a little added touch.
Now, I think the ones at Starbucks, I think they actually put a vanilla simple syrup, a vanilla syrup in there. So theirs is extremely sweet. So just beware when you order it. A lot of places do make it extremely sweet. So if you don't want it so sweet, just tell them to put a little honey.
Is yours now sweet, or is that not sweet at all?
It's not sweet at all. I can make it sweet. I can do a little honey. Honey and tea just goes together, I think. Oh, yummy.
Yeah, that looks better already.
Yeah, yummy. Let me try that again. That made it. That was really good. Really, really good.
Now you have warm tea and you have cute little cookies and sandwiches and
I do. Now remember, I got my London Fog with Earl Grey. I've got my green tea. Now the green tea, you could actually add a slice of lemon or something if you wanted to it. And then the last one I have is my blood orange tea. Let's see what that looks like.
oh yeah. Ooh.
Isn't that pretty?
That looks nice.
Yeah. What an array of teas, huh?
I can't even decide which one I would want to try.
And then I've got my water. I actually put cucumber in my water today.
Well, we were just talking today about our goal to keep our seniors hip, healthy, independent, and productive. And that's one of the things, the water. You have to drink the water every week.
You do. And look at, there's all my goodies and there's all my teas. And so I want to have an absolutely wonderful afternoon and a nice little tea party all by myself. A cute little story I got to tell you real quick. My husband came out last night. I baked the brownies last night and he snatched up a piece thinking he was getting a real brownie. He made a face. He ate it, but he made a face. So he likes a lot of sugar in his brownie.
So he still ate it though. So
he did still eat.
Right there, it can't be bad.
Yeah. So anyway, this is all keeping us healthy, Bonnie. Teas are very good for you. It doesn't quite have the caffeine that coffee does. Water, these are all low carb. So we're being healthy.
You're doing a good job keeping us healthy. And they're always really good snacks that I would really want to eat. So it's beautiful. It looks so pretty.
Isn't that pretty?
Yes,
yeah.
It is.
So it's keeping us healthy, independent, and productive, isn't it, Bonnie?
It is, and we're trying, and we're getting back into it. And the Belpre Center's open back up now on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 to 3. So if you're out and about, stop in and say hi.
Okay, I will do that, and maybe bring you a piece of banana bread.
Bring me a piece of banana bread. That would be a lovely idea.
now next week we're going to do a Valentine's dinner. We're getting really close to Valentine's, and I want to do something a little healthy but really good.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. I don't usually celebrate Valentine's Day, but it'll be a good reason to have a dinner.
That's right. Any excuse is a good one to have a healthy dinner.
Okay. Well, have a good week. That looks lovely. Don't eat all of it at one time.
I won't. Thanks, Bonnie. Have a tea party.